Have you caught your breath yet? It has been a hell of a couple of weeks in America, and I've been asked over and over, has there ever been 2 weeks in American history like this? The answer, yes and no. I'll get to the yes part in a moment. The no part matters a lot because social media and its parallel meme and disinformation factories make big news feel bigger and echo louder. And in that sense, we've never been through 2 weeks like this. We have had cataclysmic news test our nation, and interestingly, in 2 week spans. April 1865, Richmond falls. The tattered Confederacy contemplates guerrilla war against the North. Robert E. Lee surrenders to Ulysses S. Grant in Appomattox. Lincoln is assassinated, the first presidential assassination in U.S. history. A plot to decapitate Lincoln's government nearly succeeds. A vicious hunt for Lincoln's assassin ensues. A shattered North tries to imagine the presidency of Andrew Johnson, a successor overwhelmed, as Lincoln never was, by the sweep of history and the burdens of preserving the Union. All of that in 2 weeks. August 1945, President Truman orders atomic weapons first dropped on Hiroshima and then Nagasaki. Japan surrenders. Churchill uses the phrase Iron Curtain for the first time to describe the emerging Cold War in a speech to the British Parliament. Related, something called the Viet Minh launch a revolution against the colonial French in Vietnam. All of that in 2 weeks. April 1968, Lyndon Johnson announces peace talks with the North Vietnamese. Martin Luther King Jr., preparing to support a sanitation worker strike, is assassinated in Memphis. Riots erupt in 80 cities. At least 40 people die. President Johnson signs the 1968 Civil Rights Act, which includes the Fair Housing Act that bans for the very first time segregation in housing. The Soviets invade Czechoslovakia. All of that in 2 weeks. June 1968, Robert F. Kennedy wins the California Democratic primary. After his victory speech, Kennedy is assassinated inside the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles. Days later, James Earl Ray is arrested in London, charged with the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. U.S. Army General William Westmoreland, undone by the stalemate in Vietnam, steps down. Chief Justice Earl Warren retires from the Supreme Court. All of that in 2 weeks. These spasms of history I've just summarized, they don't even include 9/11 or COVID. Those are fresher memories. As a nation, here's the point. We've been through moments like this before, where 2 weeks feels like 2 months or maybe even 2 years. It takes us time to regain our bearings and to try to make sense of it all. That is the work ahead, just as it was before, to make sense for ourselves and our posterity, this history we are living, this history we are writing.